Welcome to our video training series. My name is Alan Condon. Today we're going to go over some of the core elements of our fast track defense program, what we call Krav Maga. We're going to start off with stance. So normally in the real world, we're walking around. Self-defense is normally ambush. Somebody's come up, they've gotten your space, whether they want your laptop, your pocketbook, or whatever. I want to lead off with this first. Everything that you have on you except yourself is replaceable. So if somebody comes up and asks for my laptop, don't carry a pocketbook, but somebody asks for my wallet, I'm going to give it away, right? You have to make a choice. If you think bad things are going to happen, you got to rely on your instincts, and that's a different story. So we're going to teach you some, like I said, the core elements, and we're going to go over palm strikes, some elbows, some knees, and some hammers. They're very simple, easy to do skills, and we kind of do that throughout the day. So if you think about a palm strike, my hand pushes open a door. My hand comes out, I put some body weight behind it, and I push. It's the same idea. For a hammer strike, so doorbell doesn't work, I make a fist, and I have to pound on the door because the doorbell's not making an audible sound, so they can't hear me, so I got to pound on the door. Knees are like taking big giant steps up stairs. And elbows, if you've ever been in a crowd, you need a little space, you push your elbow, or you come across, you can elbow somebody. Very simple, easy to do, and that's what makes them effective for daily self-defense, but they're also a great workout as well. So palm strike is simply this. I'm going to get into what we call a natural stance. My natural stance is what I'm walking throughout daily. It's my natural walking step. We don't like to call it a fighting stance because fighting, you have agreed rules, right? Fighting is a sport. That's our Muay Thai kickboxing program. So kind of our natural stance is my natural walking step because if that's how I'm walking and self-defense happens, that's a stance that I'm in. I bring my hands up. We always want to frame your head. So my natural stance, my hands are going to be about eye level. If you notice, my fingers are open. They're on a 45. So I am trying to put up imagine this as a wall, an obstruction. I'm putting a barrier up so they can't readily grab me, push me, or hit me. Other videos will show you how you can de-escalate. So you might have your hands up looking like you don't know what you're doing. You're trying to, move away. Different story. So now we're going to approach this as a threat is in front of you. So in my natural stance, hands come up. My knees are bent, so I have a comfortable stance. My weight's 50-50. My left hand, think about pushing open that door. It goes out in a straight line. So if I'm looking in a mirror, I'm striking straight into the face. Or personally, I like hitting the side of the head to throw somebody off balance. So my left hand goes out in a straight line and comes back. If I'm coming off of my right hand, also goes out in a straight line and comes back. But I get power through my hips, just like any sport. So if you're thinking about swinging a baseball bat, tennis racket, or even when you have to pull with a rake, palm strike, I'm going to shift my weight a little bit forward. Palm strike goes right out and back. Right out, right back. So it's a very simple, easy to use tool for self-defense. The rear hand, I'm going to get a little bit more distance because of rotation. I drive out in a straight line, drive out in a straight line. Also with the palm strike, it's very easy to do. So if somebody comes up, it can be a barrier. Hey, leave me alone. Right? So I'm extending my hand out, kind of a universal say, hey, don't cross this line. Or if I need to, if they're coming in, they might be a little bit taller. I can simply push them on the chest or shoulder, try to make my means of escape. If that's not possible, once I push them, they continue to go forward, I can strike off my rear hand, and we hit multiple times until we can de-escalate and escape the situation. Doesn't always happen that way. And again, this is a basic overview of some simple self-defense. Now, for our second strike, we're going to show you an elbow. An elbow, I'm going to drop my left hand. Imagine that my right hand is going to come over, palm down, and touch my left shoulder. So I'm basically doing a little semicircle here. Comes across. So if I had my hands up in the same defensive framework, I'm in a natural stance, hands are up, protecting my face. I'm going to turn the hip like we talked about earlier, but I think about taking my right fingertips, putting it over the shoulder, and I let my hip come forward. Now, even though it's called an elbow strike, I strike with the point of the elbow all the way down my forearm. Every one of these is a viable striking surface. So I could be coming in, hitting them on the shoulder. I could be hitting them on the side of the neck, be hitting them in the head. Off my lead hand, I do the same thing. My left hand is going to come over towards my right shoulder. Now, all I do here is turn my hip a little tiny bit. So I'm shifting my weight. So right now I'm 50-50. I'm going about 60-40. I hit with my elbow, come straight back. The key element of this is I'm always looking at the threat. I have to see what my strikes are doing, if I need more, or there's a potential means of escape. It's kind of like when you're driving. Hopefully when you drive, you don't turn and look that way. You got to see what's in front of you as well. My elbow comes across and comes back. So if you put this in a combination, I'll go right elbow, come back, left elbow, come back, or vice versa. Right elbow, left elbow. Very simple, easy to do. Targets. Again, if somebody's coming up on me and they're here, I might use the elbow as a nudge, a bump. Again, using like a crowd situation, maybe you're on public transportation, you need a bit of space, somebody's falling into you because something's moving and they're losing their balance. You kind of put your elbow up as a barrier so they don't crush you. All we do is we put some body weight behind it. Now you could reinforce that with a palm. You're like, hey, get out of my space, palm strike, and look for a means of escape, or if the situation warrants, continue to throw some strikes. And that's a decision you have to make at that moment in time. Putting these in combination, so you have palm strikes. Again, think of the analogy I said about pushing open a door, one. I'm kind of doing everything from a left lead because most people are right-handed, but in our regular classes, we always switch sides because you can't pick and choose where you are getting attacked in self-defense, because if you knew that, I would not be there. Right, so left palm, right palm. I can mix a palm, come back. So here's what we call fire, touch, fire. Fire, I want to come back and touch. In this case, it's a natural barrier I have. My hands come back to the same line, and I'm going to fire the elbow. So I go palm, touch, elbow. And I reset, because I'm always going back to a defensive frame. Palm, I had a little bit of a weight shift, come back, elbow. Palm, elbow. Palm, elbow. I could do my right palm, come back, left elbow. Right palm, left elbow. Very simple, easy to use tools, palms and elbows. In video 2, we're going to go over what we call hammer strikes. And again, hammer, think about like when your doorbell's not working, you have to knock on the door. A little bit more articulation than that, but it's also a very versatile tool. See you in video number 2.